All right, welcome everybody out to our next installment on our guest blog posting training series. I'm Trevor, and today we're going to talk about preparing I'm going to call it preparing your pitch or preparing your proposal for potential partners in doing some guest blogging. Now, I'm going to assume you've seen the other two right now, and if you haven't, go back and see them. I just listed the names of them right here. Guest blogging strategy 101. I'll just circle these with a red pen here real quick. This one right here. And then this one right here. So we've already kind of given you high level what's involved. And then last week we talked about how to go out and find these opportunities. And this week I want you to prepare for the pitch. And then next week will probably be giving a pitch or a proposal to do a guest blog, and then the week after that would be actually creating the content itself, assuming we follow that series exactly. Okay. So I want to go to, let me erase this. Hopefully you guys can all see that right there. Let me go over here to our notes here and feel comfortable copying some of these down. We won't do a lot of moving outside of looking at these notes and then just talking. So if you want to take some notes, that'd be great. Okay, so number one, there's just a few things to consider, and I think I numbered these 1 through 4. So this is assuming that you've decided you want to do guest blog posting, you want to use this as a marketing strategy. Let's say you've gone out and you've found a bunch of potential partners, right? And I showed you guys how to do that last time. There's a bunch of potential blog posting or guest blog posting opportunities that you found. Maybe you found 15 or 20 or 45 or 50 or whatever that number is, and you've made a list of those potential opportunities. Now we got to prep before we contact these companies. The knee-jerk reaction is, okay, I found a company or a blog. I'm just going to shoot them an email and pitch them. You'll find that you won't get nearly the success response rate that you may want unless you do this first. So that's what we're trying to accomplish tonight, okay? All right, so number one, before you pitch this blog, get to know the blog's content, okay? Now I'm going to use a sample blog tonight. This one right here is a very popular blog. It's called ProBlogger.net. Coincidentally, the theme or the niche is this guy right here. You're seeing him on the screen. His name is Darren, and he's the owner of this blog, and he's been doing this blogging thing for a long time. In fact, I feel like I learned a lot of what I know about blogging from him, because this site teaches you how to grow and develop a blog of your own. And it's been around for a lot of years, over 10 years. So that's his niche. And so you'll find on this site, if you actually look at his blog, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. Here's the link right here for his blog. You'll find multiple guest bloggers. Here's one right here. This first post right here. This is a guest blogger done on the 13th of October. If we scroll down the page a little bit. That's not a guest blogger. Here's another one on the 11th of October. Okay, and if we continue to scroll down here, we'll find more. That's not one. Here's another one on the 6th. So right now, it's like every other post on this guy's blog right now is a guest blogger. Okay, but back to our original point. Let me, before I get too off topic here. I said number one is get to know your blog's content. So what level, and these are just some questions you might want to ask yourself. You have to ask yourself, what level of audience are they writing for? So is this a really basic, blogging 101? Is it more intermediate, or is it more advanced? And if you read this pro blogger, you'll find it's probably a bit more on the advanced side. Now, why would that matter, guys? Why would that matter that I know this blog's audience? Why do I care about that as a potential partner here? Think about that while I go on to the second thing. What type of audience are they writing for? If your business is a B2B or a business to business, then you'll want the blog audience for your guest posts to be businesses, not general consumers, right? That should make some sense. And then last, what type of content do they write? Is it mostly general concepts or specific detailed tutorials? And do they like lists? And I guess by lists, you guys have seen those online where it's like 43 things not to do when you meet your in-laws, right? Or 15 things to make sure you do when you cook your Thanksgiving turkey, right? Like these list type pieces of content have been popular for a lot of years. So, do they do that on their blog, right? And what kind of content do they have? So why do we care so much? Like, why are we doing this research? Yeah, so I'm gonna pick on your comment here, Russell, because I think it's spot on. Because it's relative to your content that you're submitting. Yeah, so you're basically doing some competitive research here, and you're looking over maybe what's been written and maybe what's been written by other guest bloggers on this site, and you're asking yourself, what kind of content do they like? And can I produce that kind of content? If this is an expert blogging website and I don't know much about blogging, I'm going to have a hard time getting an expert piece that gets put on here, right? Unless I do some serious work. So I might find that, I don't really know much about the subject matter of this blog. It seems way over my head. I'm going to pass on it. I'm going to go find a different one, right? These are the questions you should ask. That way you can narrow down this list of, 200 potential opportunities you found. Based on this, maybe you narrow that down to 100 just off of some of these questions, right? Good. I hope that makes sense there. Okay, next thing you need to consider. Typo. Well, no, actually, no, that's right, actually. How do other guest posts do? Question mark, okay? So while a blog may have guest posts, the question is, do the guest bloggers do very well? And by doing very well, do guest blog posts on the site get as much comments and social sharing as blog posts by the owner? Here's an example of this, okay? So let's look at ProBlogger for a second. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you guys can see this better. So here was one written on the 13th. This was written today, and there's 5 comments on it. This one was written on the 12th by a normal person, 4 comments. This is another guest one. It's got 6 comments. Another one, 8 comments. Another one, 19 comments, a guest blogger. Another one, 6 comments. This is by the author, and they only have 3. Okay, so as I'm looking through these, the question I have to ask myself is, are guest bloggers getting some interest? Like, are people commenting and interacting? And it looks like yes, especially, there's one here that had not, yeah, look at this one right here. 19 comments on this, which sticks out to me because that's far more than any of the other ones had. So I'm just going to click on it. I want to check it out just real quick. And I would look at the topic, and I might even come down and scroll down here and look at some of the comments that are written, okay, and see what the conversation is like. I know I'm scrolling kind of fast because we've got to go fast. Check out the social sharing. Okay, this is the other thing I like to look at. A lot of blogs will have something that will show how many times the blog post has been shared. And what's cool about this one is not only do they have 19 comments, 157 Facebook shares, right? And then you've got some other social media shares listed here, Google Plus and Pinterest and Reddit and Twitter, so on and so forth. Guys, is that impressive at all to you? Because it is to me. This individual who got to post this this particular guest post Not only are they getting dramatic exposure here on ProBlogger, but check out all the social sharing they're getting. That's huge for them. And you'll notice any of the ProBlogger guest posts, they've got this little section right here where they get to write about themselves. So it says this guy holds a bachelor's degree in computer systems networking and telecommunications and has a substantial experience in network and server management, so on and so forth. But they get this little link right here. Where do you suppose this link that says selected hosting goes? Probably to this guy's website, right? So think about it with me for just a sec. Massive exposure on this very popular site. Massive sharing on social networks, and a really nice link right there. That's the power of a guest blog post, right? So I would, as I'm evaluating this, as you know, do I want to submit a guest post to ProBlogger? I would say, oh yeah, do guest posts do fairly well on this site? Yeah, no doubt. Absolutely they do. But remember, even if they didn't and there wasn't a lot of interest, if I could still get my link here like they have, that's still going to help me in Google. That's still going to help me rank a little bit better, okay? So in my notes here, some sites might accept guest posts, but if the audience is only tuning in for the blog owner, then you won't do it, or you won't do so well if your goal is to build authority or get traffic back to your website. So if your goal is simply just to drive traffic directly, but your guest posts aren't seeing a lot of action, then you may not get much. If your goal is to build links and help with SEO, it's still probably worth your time, if that makes sense. Okay, let's go to number 3. Number 3 says, see who the guest bloggers are. Learn about them. Sometimes blog owners only allow guest posts from certain types of people or businesses. So there again, I could go back here to ProBlogger, and I won't do this just for the sake of time, but I could look at each of these guest posts. So this guy right here owns a hosting site. Let's look at another guest blogger right here. How to leverage the 80-20 rule. This guest blogger, let's look at their little bio here at the bottom. Jerry Lowe, Geek Dad, SEO junkie, founder of Web Hosting Secret Revealed. Okay. So this guy's on web hosting as well. So if I'm a web hosting type company, would ProBlogger then become a target for me? You bet it would. And why does that make sense? Because what do bloggers need? They need hosting, don't they? So I can see why these hosting companies are targeting ProBlogger as a potential guest post opportunity. All right? Does that make sense, guys? It doesn't mean let's say I was a marketing agency or an SEO company, or maybe I was a company that helps people register domains or something. This still would be a good target for me, but it's nice to know the background of the people that are getting guest post opportunities, okay? Number 4, become a familiar face in the community. This is something we've touched on before. So I'm going to read my points here and then we'll talk about it. So it says to increase your chances of getting accepted as a guest blogger, you will want to get some recognition from the blog owner first. The best way to do this is to take a week or 2 and comment on their latest posts. You'll get bonus points for sharing their posts on Twitter too. Just be sure to include the blog owner's @ or Twitter handle. This way, when you pitch your guest posts, you won't be a complete stranger. This is networking 101, right? It's pretty tough to get a guest post on a very well-known blog if you're just a random solicitation type email. They'll probably spam you or archive you or not even look at you. Smaller blogs that aren't as authoritative are easier to do this with because they're sort of thirsting for guest posts and they like the additional content. ProBlogger, I can only imagine, probably gets just hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of guest posting inquiries every single month. So what's going to make you stand out? Well, I guess the point we're making here is before you ever even try to reach out to that blog, you've got to become a part of the community first. So, you might get in there and comment a bunch of times on their articles for a few weeks and be part of the conversation and really add value that way. And or probably more, and if you can, share some of their content on your website or on social media, and make sure that you give them credit. Like I said, use their Twitter handle there, the @ username, and that way they know that you actually shared their stuff. If you'll do that, it's kind of the, hey, I'll scratch your back if you'll scratch mine principle. They're going to be much more inclined to at least entertain the idea of having you as a guest blogger if you've become a part of the community to some extent, right? Now, I don't know. There's some companies, and I've done this too as a blog owner, when people request an opportunity to guest post on some of my stuff, I don't take any unless they pay me now. So if you email, well, I won't say that. I guess that's not totally truthful. If you're a prominent person in my niche, I might let you do it. But I have people pay. So I don't know what ProBlogger's policy is. You can reach out and ask them and find out about their blog posting opportunities. But sometimes these companies that are big enough will be like, no, actually, it's going to cost you $500 to get onto our site. And of course, I know a lot of you guys don't have a budget for that, and so I hope that's not the case in your niche, and most likely won't be, but that does happen out there a little bit, which is kind of cool, because if you think about it, if your blog becomes very big and authoritative, guess what you can do? You can start charging too, right? Not only do you get free content, but you're making $100 a pop every time somebody wants to post an article on your site. That can be pretty valuable, right? Yeah, so find out their username. That's what you've got to find out first, Catherine. So the way you would do it is ProBlogger's Twitter. Let's see if I can find their Twitter account. Yeah, right here. It's @ProBlogger. So that would be their Twitter account right here. So what I could do is I could just hit this little icon on their site and copy this link right here, and that would give them credit. Because if I hit @ProBlogger on Twitter, I don't know how much some of you guys know about Twitter, but if I put @their handle, that notifies them that I shared their stuff. So, we can do some more Twitter training later, but that's essentially what that does. Then they'll know that I shared, which is half of what I want to do. Okay, does that make sense? So, if I'm a beekeeping blog, and this is the example I've used in the past, I'm a beekeeping blog. Is ProBlogger on my radar? Probably not, right? This is a blog that's totally about something in left field that's not related to my business. If I'm a hosting company or a tech company or an informational systems type company, then yes, I would want to learn about these guys. But again, what I've shared with you tonight, this is the vetting process, right? This is A, making sure that they're a good fit for you, and then B, putting yourself in a position to where you can be successful when you target them. Now, when we talk about this next time, we're going to talk about, okay, now that we've done our research and we know what kind of content they like, we're going to go in and we're going to either email them or fill out a contact form on their page, and we're going to request an opportunity to provide a guest post. That'll be part of our discussion next time. At least now you know how to vet these companies. So take that big list of companies you've come up with as you've looked around, that list of 300 blogs that you've found, vet them, prepare to pitch them, and then you'll be ready for our next time, okay? Questions about that, guys? Does that make sense, kind of what we're trying to do here? This is still very much a viable strategy. As I mentioned previously, this has happened for a while over the years, but it's still one of the better strategies to get quality links, to get shared on social media, to get direct traffic, to find customers. There's a reason why a lot of people do it. It definitely works. Okay. Well, I don't see a lot of questions, guys. If you've got any more questions about this topic in particular, you're welcome to email me. Otherwise, we'll be discussing again next week. Assuming nothing else comes up, we'll talk about it next week, and we'll move on to the next step of this process. Okay. I know it's not a great strategy if you're not really a writer. Not that you have to be some sort of great writer. You know, you've just got to be able to string sentences together and use decent grammar, right? You know, remember, I know some of you guys writing isn't your favorite thing or whatever, but knowing how to do a little bit of it in your niche is going to be pretty helpful for you, not only for this, but for other marketing strategies we use. Content creation these days on the internet is so big that, you know, you have to be able to, you know, to do a little bit of writing here and there. And this is certainly no exception. All right, guys, we'll see you all Thursday next time. Hopefully this was helpful, and we'll take it from there. Thanks again.